Hello and welcome to another edition of Motorcars Enthusiasts. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Yes, what, a year and a half, year and geez, yeah, a little bit longer. I think June of 2020 was the last video. It's 2022. In fact, the day of the taping of this particular program was the last stage of the last round of the Monte Carlo Rally, the first run for the brand new, what are they called now? Rally 1 cars, the new WRC cars, the new hybrid era. Big shout out to M Sport and to Sebastian Loeb. Loeb hasn't won, or first Monte Carlo Rally is 20 years ago he won, so way to go. And then obviously M Sport, who did a job doing this brand new hybrid car. They had all five of or three of their cars in the top five, top six. So between Greensmith and Craig Breen, who's technically in second place in the points, being Loge and OJ are not going to continue on with the championship. They're just going to run some selected events. So anyway, I've gone way too long on the whole rally scene. Let's get back to motor cars. Let's talk about how it started. So it started back in the mid-2000s. I think it was the year that Ford made the Ford 500 and the Ford Taurus. Well, I can remember that was like as yesterday. This big, beautiful turntable, a lovely lady telling the stories. The all-new Ford Taurus, but it was just still the same 500, which is actually sitting right next to it, and felt kind of sad for that car. Anyway, about that time, my brother thought, we need to start ourselves an own dealership that sells nothing but cool cars. And basically, he just wanted something to have some fun cars to play with. It was an interesting concept. We actually ran with it, worked on it for probably a year or so. He got out. I moved on with actually trying possibly brokering cars, which ends up being illegal, especially in the Motorcars Enthusiasts state that we reside in. So it wouldn't have worked anyway. Had a fun little way of networking and how this deal. But one of the things going to do was going to do a website. And the website was I read a bunch of books that said, you got to make your website sticky, where people will keep coming back to the website. So a YouTube channel seemed easy. Talk about cars, try to get people interested and try to get them moving forward and buying new stuff, especially off of us. One of the other things, we were going to do probably an early edition of maybe bringatrailer.com. That was going to be a part of that particular website. Anyway, that thing never happened. It is what it is. But I started the YouTube channel just ahead of what I was going to start that website before I found out that obviously it was illegal and all that other good jazz. Anyway, let's talk about when it was going to start. So it was going to start in the January of 2010 was going to be the first episode. Well, something terrible happened in September 2009. I was involved in a very serious car accident, and I thought, in light of this car accident, not to mention the lawsuits that were going on. Now, don't get it twisted. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing like that. It was strictly a traffic accident, but there was a fair amount of lawsuits flying around. I figured that this didn't need to fly with that going on. I was just mainly on the fear of that I would get the thing going and it would get taken from me. So anyway, the website or the lawsuits were over, I think it was late December of 2010. So we're going to launch it in 2011. My father wanted to take us on a big vacation, all of us kids. And so the first 3 episodes of Motorcars are actually shot out of the country. But don't go look for them because they never made air. I couldn't get the audio right. I couldn't get the video right. I couldn't get the lighting right. I couldn't get nothing right. So they never actually happened. So came back in, I think, February and started in earnest. 2 shows a week, sometimes 5 or 6 shows a week. Just depended. We did a Wednesday night show, Sunday night show, and then as soon as they were filmed, they were uploaded. And did that forever. Until June 2020. And I always was jealous of this channel because it took so much of my time, so much effort went into it, that I just didn't have a life for the longest time. I couldn't go anywhere, I couldn't do anything. This is what I did. And it was it was frustrating. And it would have been about the time when Nissan had come up with the new Z car, what would become the new Z car. It was a prototype version. And Maserati was showing off that hybrid supercar that's out now. And I don't know, I used to have this thing where I just couldn't wait to talk about some things. I just couldn't wait to talk about it on the internet. It was gone. Like overnight, it was gone. And I thought, I'm going to give it a couple of days. And I gave it a couple of days. And it was like a Wednesday night, I was supposed to do a show. The next Sunday night, I forgot about it, which was hilarious to even think about. It was late in the evening when I thought, oh, shoot, I still haven't made that show. It really is over. So, yeah, it ended really weird. So it just kind of died. I didn't do any ending videos. I didn't do anything. So, yeah, because what? That was June 2020, and this is January of 2022. Now we're going to talk about the highs and lows. So the highs were always kind of pretty entertaining. Got a shout out from the guy who's got the solo cannonball record across the country, where I kind of made mention in one of the videos that this may not be legit and stuff. He came to me and said that, yeah, it's legit. I'll have the information out, obviously, when the legality part of it would catch back up with him. Got a big hit from General Motors one time to go see the C7 Z06 launch. They invited me to that launch the day before. In fact, the night before. In fact, if I would have left as soon as I got the invitation, I probably would have only got there maybe 2 hours before the thing started. So I would have had to cannonball through the night to be up. So it was kind of not an invitation. I think they were trying to fill some seats. It is what it is. I got a shout out from some folks over in Dubai. We're building this kind of off-road race car thing. Was hoping to get a little trip out of that thing. I got that over on Twitter and which kind of never materialized anything, but it was still really cool. They still follow me today on the old Twitterverse. Now let's talk about the lowlights, because the lowlights were way more entertaining. One of the biggest ones I lost one of my biggest supporters, like a fellow that really helped with the channel, championed the channel for the longest time. And it was a huge misunderstanding that I absolutely handled poorly. If that person sees this video, I have a personal apology to you, because I completely handled that wrong. So if you know anything about the Christian calendar, Ash Wednesday is the start of a season in the Christian calendar called Lent. So if you go to church, a lot of churches will give you burnt palm leaves, and they'll do a sign of the cross on the forehead. So I had come home, done all the prep work for the show, went to church, came back, and it was, Ash Wednesday's obviously on a Wednesday, and I came back and I forgot about the ashes and started shooting the show. The first couple of shots I saw of it, I was like, oh, geez, I still got ashes on my head. And I thought about cleaning them off and reshoot, and then I thought, no, this will be funny, because that's kind of who I am. So I left them on and this was the exact thing, or at least exact is what I remember it, is I just went on, as you can see from my forehead, it's Ash Wednesday, and then went on with the show. Well, this person blew up on me. Oh, you're trying to shove God down my throat, blah, blah, blah. And I basically went, good riddance, get out. That was totally wrong. I should have never done that. I should have never done the Ash thing. There was a lot of things. Actually, I'm not ashamed of the Ash thing. That is what it is. But, yeah, I felt bad for that particular situation, especially the way I handled it. So if you're out there and you see this, I'm sorry. The biggest one was getting in fights with fanboys. Fanboys and fangirls were always fun, because they read every little piece of information about a certain car, and they will call you on it if you're wrong, which is fine. One of the funniest ones was I had a person come to me. Lamborghini had just shown off the new version of the Gallardo, and it was an upgraded version. It was like a mid-cycle refresh thing. A little bit more horsepower, so I had different 0 to 60 numbers, different top speed numbers. And what I had said on the show, this person then just ripped me a new one, and just screaming and yelling and stated two numbers that were completely wrong. They were both faster and incorrect. And the person was like, where do you get your information? Well, this was something that, weirdly enough, that I actually got this from Lamborghini, because they had sent out the press email, and that's where it came from. So I sent them a link to the press site. This is what it says. This is what I said. It is what it is. The weirdest one is every, probably 3 or 4 months, you would see this, just name a country, and they were going to come out with their own supercar. And this particular time it was the folks over in Poland, and they were going to build this supercar, and all these supercars were kind of the same, mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, and they were all LS powered because it was just inexpensive. And they were going to sell this thing for ridiculous amounts of money. And as much as I love people that will go out and build stuff like that, follow their dreams, build their own supercar, my mistake was in the name. So the name of the company was one thing, but the name of the car was another thing, and I like to look up and see what the name meant. Like Lamborghini. Lamborghini's kind of always named after fighting bulls. So I went and looked up the name, and the name was a fighting group back in like the 1400s that for 150 years never lost a battle. These folks kicked ass for years, and it was neat. I liked that. And even though there was a bunch of different names or a bunch of different definitions for this name, this was the one that was most widely thought of. So I went ahead and ran with it. 4 months later, 3 months later, whatever it had been, I get a message from somebody who's just ripping me a new one, called me everything in the book, including the C word, which I thought was hilarious, and just demanding that this be changed, and crowdsourced other people, and they invaded that particular video, yelling and screaming and cussing at me. Finally, I just came out and I banned the first guy, flat blocked him from the channel, and just went and listen. This video is 3 months old. It's a news video. You don't redo a news video. I could have maybe cut and pasted out, but why? Just get out of here. I apologized for it. That was all I was ever going to do. But it was funny for a while. Boy, that went on for like a month. I kept getting harassment stuff from people. So we talked about how it ended. We talked about how it began. We talked about the highs and lows. Now let's talk about what it's going to become. And a little bit is that, the Speed Shop. So Motorcars will continue to exist as a channel. We're going to do some RC car stuff. We're going to do some auction stuff that everybody hates. We're going to do some little stuff about cars, odds and ends, junk about cars and whatnot, and maybe some driving impression. I just drove the brand new Ford Bronco for the first time. Not a bad piece. It feels a lot like a Jeep, so it's interesting that those two are close, combatants there. But we're going to do a bunch of stuff with some RC stuff, some highlight video stuff, some in-depth build videos and whatnot, because I can't leave anything alone. So if you liked the old motor cars, it's not going to be like that anymore. So if you don't want to stay, I totally understand. But if you do, stick around. It might be fun. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, subscribe. And if you want to leave, you can go out like the monitor just did. And that's totally fine. I'm not going to scream at anybody like I have in the past. So if you want to jump on board with this thing, and we're just going to have a good time. No real structure. We're not going to show, we're not going to do, daily videos or anything like that. Just anytime I just feel like I want to do something like this, that's what it's going to happen. So that's what Motorcars is going to be in the future. And if you want to, join us. It's going to be a pretty good time. If you still like the car stuff and you haven't done been a part of the Facebook page, the Facebook page still has gotten updated. It never stopped. I do that 6 days a week. So if you want really into the car stuff, that gets updated every day with all the news that's going on around the world. There's tons of links to share with different automotive stories that are all over the planet. So, and boy, it's really an interesting world that we're living in right now. So join us. We'll have some fun. And if I don't ever see you again, well, have a good time. And if you want to join us, we'll have a good time. So see you again real soon.